Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, great for recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day, my friends. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with somebody who might get something out of it. We're going to go right back to the Just for Today NA meditation. Now, that being said, you guys all know Sunday, God's Day. I'm enjoying a beautiful, relaxing day. Beautiful service at the church, a new church I'm going to because I really enjoy the choir. From there, I went to the gym. And I've just been doing a little bit of, I did grocery shopping last night, doing a little bit of house cleaning. Got to start doing some laundry soon and just enjoying a nice, relaxing day. The topic for today's video today, guys, is trusting people. Many of us would have nowhere to go if we could not have trusted a recovery group. Trusting people is a risk. Human beings are notoriously forgetful, unreliable, and imperfect. A lot of us come from backgrounds where betrayal and insensitivity among friends were common occurrences. Even our most reliable friends weren't very reliable. By the time we arrive at the doors of recovery, most of us have hundreds of experience bearing our past conviction that people are untrustworthy. Yet our recovery demands that we trust people. We are forced with this dilemma. People aren't always trustworthy, yet we must trust. How do we do that given our past? First, we remind ourselves that the rules of active addiction do not apply in recovery. Most of our fellow members are doing doing their best to live by spiritual principles we learn in the program. By the spiritual principles we learn in the program. Second, we remind ourselves that we are not 100% reliable either. We will surely disappoint someone in our life no matter how hard we try not to. Third, and most importantly, we realize that we need to trust those in recovery. Our lives are at stake, and the only way we can stay clean is to trust well-intentioned folks who admittedly are not perfect. Just for today, I will trust my fellow friends in recovery. Though not perfect, they are my best hope. And guys, that's absolutely true. Like, I know for myself, I didn't want, even in rehab, because nobody really had any serious clean time up to that point. I just assumed just about everything anybody said to me was bullshit. And that was a fact of addiction. That was just a fact of the way we lived. You didn't trust dealers, you didn't trust other addicts, you didn't trust anybody trying to offer you anything. You had to look at everything through a lens of distortion because the life that we're leading back at that point. And that's horrible. One of the beautiful, beautiful things, and I just did a video yesterday about honesty. One of the beautiful gifts of sobriety is the ability to be honest and to surround ourselves with other people that are being honest. Now, that being said, you always want to take everything with a grain of salt, particularly in early recovery. If you're amongst other people that are in early recovery, keep in mind not everybody has, maybe has the program 100%. But that being said, the overall general rules of recovery in the group are typically absolutely trustworthy. You never want to put all your eggs in any one person's basket. You want to, sit back and observe. And the best way to do that, guys, is just sit back and listen. Come to the same meetings regularly, and you'll start to be able to discern who is honest, who seems trustworthy, and who you might want to stay away from. And that's just a rule of life, guys. You're not always, no room is perfect, no group is perfect. You're always going to have people that may, and particularly be careful of anybody that's offering you something that sounds too good to be true, guys. More often than not, anything too good to be true probably is. Again, if somebody has something to get over on you, then you watch out for that that individual person. But as I said, the best thing to do is just go to meetings regularly, go to the same, try to be around people that are more, have no reason to get over on you, and then just trust the group ethic. You don't have to trust any one person that's offering you too much. Don't walk into a meeting and pick a sponsor, 10 seconds after you get there. Stop and observe for a while. See who you can listen to on a regular basis and seems to make sense. See who seems to have the same ideals and desires as you. And just kind of scope things out for a while. But overall, you can pretty much trust the general information. As far as people sharing their experience, sharing their stories, the readings, the literature, the lessons passed down, you can trust those without reserve. I mean, that is the general general statements that have helped all of us get to where we are today, or get to stop putting some clean time together. And that's a beautiful thing. That's one of the absolute gifts is I love the fact that I can actually I surround myself with people who I can just take at their word because they're not trying to take from me, and I'm not involved with things that people have any reason to get over on me, and that's such a stress relieving feeling, and to be able to make that statement and mean it wholeheartedly. For myself, I've challenged myself to always be honest today and always try to give where I can. I don't make promises I can't fulfill, and that was something I used to do a lot, guys. I hate to say it, but we kind of come out of addiction with all these terrible feelings, and I used to be overly, I would be overly anxious to show people how great I could be and want to extend myself and try to be somebody that somebody could rely on, and I would overextend myself and put myself out and never meaning to, always with the best of intentions. But keep in mind, sometimes the road to hell is paved with the best of intentions. Today I don't do that. Today I sit back and just do my thing, stay in my lane, help anybody I can within reason without overextending myself. I never make promises to people because that's the other thing. I understand today that if I start promising people, oh, I can get you jobs and this and that, and then it doesn't happen, then I'm possibly ruining somebody and putting somebody in a bad position, because you never know what somebody else is going through and how bad they might need something that you're not actually able to provide. Now, with that being said, anytime I can help somebody out, and most like I try and keep most of that to just listening or sharing resources that I already have in my possession. Not, promising things I don't have yet that I don't know for a fact I can come through with. And like I said, I do it all the time in meetings, insofar as that there's a lot of people in the halfway houses and programs that come to our meeting. And I've put together a list of like sober housings and sober scholarships and resources like that I know, I've researched, I know is legit. I've handed off to other people that have had good luck with it. And I share those willingly and freely because I love to help somebody else get into further sober housing where I know they're going to give them a leg up on their sobriety, and I love sharing stuff like that. And anywhere I can, I will always help out, and I will readily share what I've learned in lessons. But again, when it comes to material aspects of things, I try not to. Well, I not even try. I absolutely do not make promises I can't follow through. Now, if I'm in a meeting and somebody asks for a ride, I always raise my hand because I'm there with my truck, so I know I can provide that. That's no problem. Now, when somebody says, I got to get to California next week, can you help me out? Well, no, of course not. And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna overextend myself. I don't own a trucking company, a bus line, or an airport. So, okay, and I know that's a ridiculous example, but you get the idea. You want to be, there's a fine line being able to help somebody and then being overly anxious to, show off and look like a big shot. And again, that's something I never do today. I don't know why it even popped in my head, but I realized I've done that in the past in recovery. And then all of a sudden, something doesn't work out and I can't follow through. And now I get anxious and I get to start worrying about that. And then I don't want to go to that meeting. And you know what I mean? It just opens up a whole bunch of nonsense that you don't need. Added stress, and that's stuff like that, particularly in early recovery, can take people out, yourself or somebody else. So it's important to be trustworthy. It's important not to overextend yourself, and it's important to not put all your faith in any one other person that you don't know and hasn't shown you that they're reliable. Now, if you need resources, again, put it out there in a meeting. If somebody has, I'm not talking material resources, but like informational resources, somebody has, it's great. But always do your own research, always follow that up. And that's why I suggest for myself, I love having my recovery advisor, recovery coach, my therapist, my doctors. Like, these are the people that I go to, and I know that when I ask them for resources, they're going to provide me something that's legitimate, because they have parameters that they have to follow. And that way I know the information I'm getting is reliable, and I can then, but again, and even then, I don't, until I go and experience it, I don't put more faith than is reasonable into any of that, right? And that's the beauty of it today, guys. And I love that today. I'm able to trust my fellow members of my group. Now, again, I've also been going there regularly for 6 months, so I've actually gotten to know people on a personal level, and that's why I recommend being a part of a home group. I go to random meetings here and there as I'm available, and I hear there's one there, and I'm very open and friendly, and I love to share my story. But when I'm in a room full of people I haven't met yet, I keep everything at arm's length, at least early on. and just, you're there for the camaraderie, and you're there to hear shared experiences, but I'm not there to offer anybody anything or look to receive anything from anybody. And I, for myself, I start to back off the minute somebody starts, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Well, no, like, I can do all that. I don't want to get myself in a position where I'm expecting something that doesn't seem reasonable from somebody else, because I don't want to overtax them. And I'm not going to offer anything that I don't know for sure that I can't provide. And that's why I'm very careful about what I do. And that's the beauty of it today, guys. And that all comes from listening and actually applying the spiritual principles that I've been learning and hearing all along. And I love that today, guys, because then I can show up the same person every week. I can be stress-free, relaxed, and again, I deal with life on life's terms, so I get my own, my own things I got to deal with in my personal life. Now, I'm not adding anybody else's baggage to my life that is unnecessary. Not to say that I won't, offer somebody an ear to listen, or a ride when necessary, or, whatever I can that's within reason. If somebody's asking, what gym I go to, of course I share what gym I go to, where's a good restaurant, anything like that. That's just, information that's always easy to share. But when it comes to somebody saying, oh, can you get me work? And I know I can't. I don't guarantee that. I understand that as much as it'd be nice to be able to, I don't have it like that. My business is myself, and I have a couple of friends that I hire when necessary, but they also know the job. And I understand that by making promises that you can't deliver to people, that's just dangerous, right? You never want to be in that position where all of a sudden you're not able to follow through on a promise that you made. Particularly when it comes to recovery, guys, this is life and death. This is very serious stuff. I was doing some research for this video earlier, and I happened to catch a video that showed the streets of Kensington. I don't even know what state it was in, but it was a half-hour video on it just caught my eye, so I watched it, and guys, I was literally almost brought to tears, like the suffering that is out there. It looked like Mass and Cass 2 years ago, only times 1,000. And that's the reality of the disease that we're facing, guys. If we don't make this recovery, there's a very good chance we don't survive. I will never say I don't have another run in me, because I'm always one mistake away from going back out there, but I keep these things in the forefront of my mind. I step up as far as I have, because I've been given something or any of us in recovery are given the opportunity to rebuild my life, to live clean and sober, to become healthy again. And I know how incredibly grateful and lucky I am that I made it, because I was, in the depths of it for decades, guys. Not many people make it as long as I did out there and come out of it as healthy and unscathed and with the opportunities that I have. So I'm very, very, I guard them with my life, because it's exactly what it is. It is my life. And I watch videos like that to remind myself of what's waiting for me out there, so that I never go backwards. And I also understand that if I overextend myself and then I can't follow through to something I said I could, that I could very well be the decision that puts somebody else back out there, because they may need something I promised way worse than I possibly thought. I might have thought it was a casual, oh, maybe I can. And if I couldn't, then that's not fair. And I won't do that to another recovering addict today. And just one more thing I love about myself today, and just one more area in my life where it shows immense growth, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. I love the person I'm becoming. I love the life that I'm leading. And again, it's not perfect by any means, but it is so much better than the misery I used to experience on a daily basis. I love the fact that I'm able to surround myself with people that are trustworthy today. And again, I try to be very as self-sufficient as possible, but that doesn't mean I'm an island. And I'm very quick to be cautious about who I rely on. That's why I rely on people that are professional today. And that's part of living clean. That's part of working hard and having resources, being able to make sure my insurance is kept up, make sure I have money in the bank, make sure I can afford to do the things that I need to do. Whereas before, all my resources went into drugs, so anything over and above that, I had to find a way to come at sideways. So I was often forced to rely on the kindness of somebody else that was more than likely looking to get over on me. And I don't have to do that today, guys. And that's one of the beautiful, beautiful gifts of sobriety. Guys, that is the video today. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one.